Hi, everyone. Gene Nichols back with you, and so happy to have with us today Ben Alvarado, Executive Vice President, Director of Core Banking, and he is going to talk all about financial independence and perhaps how California Bank and Trust, the company he works for, can help us get there. Ben Alvarado, welcome. Great to have you here.
Good morning, Gene. Glad to be here.
So first and foremost, what the heck is financial independence, or do we all have our own definition?
That's a great question. There's actually a few different definitions around financial independence. When I'm speaking about financial independence and what we hopefully can talk about a bit today is really knowing your financial situation, living within those means, and that includes setting something aside to plan for the future versus just living paycheck to paycheck.
Is that something that we might call paying yourself first? Is that kind of along the lines of what we're talking about?
That it fits right in with the strategy around financial independence. Absolutely.
So what is paying myself first?
Some ways to achieve that is, first really knowing your financial situation and setting a budget. But what happens with the budget, oftentimes people forget to include savings and sometimes feel that if it's not a significant amount in their mind, it doesn't count. But you've got to include part of your budget as paying yourself first before you get to those wants that everybody has on their list.
And paying myself first probably is best on automatic pilot, putting money directly into an IRA or a 401k before it even hits my paycheck so I can't spend it if it's tied up building for the future?
Well, I think that's one way to do it. And some are more disciplined than others. And so I think at the beginning, it all starts with really understanding your current situation and creating a budget. And within that budget, setting something aside for savings. Now, how you do the savings is really up to you. A real disciplined person might understand, hey, first person that gets paid is me, and I'm taking 10% of whatever I'm making, it's going to me, and I'm paying my bills, and so on. Others, they know, hey, this is not my wheelhouse, and so they can set up an automatic transfer from a checking to a savings account, or like you mentioned, a retirement plan of some sort, so those funds come right off the top, go into some sort of savings vehicle, and they don't even have to think about it, and now the rest of that balance they know goes to their needs next and pays those bills that we have to pay. And then hopefully there's a little something left over to just have some fun money, but that really just depends on everyone's schedule and everyone's cost of living.
Because, of course, even though we want to save something for the future, we can't just defer all pleasure or life will be misery for the entire journey, won't it?
That's absolutely right. And I think that's one of the great ways. Another part of this and having financial independence is not just knowing your means and your financial situation, but also setting goals. What are those things I want? I want to take a vacation in 3 or 6 months, or maybe it's a year from now. What would that cost and how much would I have to put away? And really breaking it down into bite-sized chunks so that you can start working towards having that financial independence, still being responsible, but allowing a little bit of time here, a little bit of your resources to go to the fun things in life, right? You got to enjoy yourself.
So basically, our allocation should be a little something for the future set aside, a little short-term emergency if we have a disaster on the home front, and then some that just has to go to living and having a good time while we're here because, none of us really know how far along that grand clock is ticking, do we?
No, you really don't. And you make some really great points there about having something set aside. I mean, ideally, they say 3 to 6 months, right? Because one of the biggest derailers are those unexpected expenses that come up, and they happen to all of us. And having 3 to 6 months set aside as one of your first savings goals is a great place to start. Now, that's easier for some than others, but even setting aside 30 days of savings just to cover some unexpected expenses is a great savings goal to have towards financial independence.
Ben Alvarado is with us, Executive Vice President and a man who's the Director of Core Banking at California Bank and Trust. We are chatting with him about financial independence and how the heck to get there, at least get close to it. I don't know if it's ever possible for any of us to just stop working completely. People have a lot of different issues. Sometimes by the time you get the kids through school, the old parents are getting older and sicker, and then you've got those duties and responsibilities as well. But one of the things that really catches a lot of Americans, Ben, is they don't have the money now for what they want now, and so they use the old credit card. But boy, oh boy, those credit card companies aren't making it easy on us at all, are they?
No, high interest debt is one of the biggest obstacles to financial freedom. It can really eat away at your savings and make that a really tough road. And so having a solid budget on, what it is you need, your basic fundamentals, And then what are those other things that you would like to have, and staying within your means and buying them if necessary with cash or on a very short-term plan. Because if you take on high interest debt for that immediate gratification, that interest rate can just eat away for a long time and put you in a really tough situation and make it a little harder to reach financial freedom.
And then, Ben, it's not just a matter of putting a little money away each month for the future. We've got to find a vehicle to put it in so it's going to generate some growth. And that may be something that the typical person out there doesn't have the time or knowledge or even want to invest in terms of interest or energy into finding out how to get that money to grow. But there are options and there are mistakes that you can make that won't serve you well long term.
Absolutely. I think some of the biggest pitfalls that people have is just making poor investment choices, and typically it comes from a lack of patience. This does not happen overnight. You really have to set a realistic time frame for how much you can save and be putting away over time. And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So there's a lot of variety of investment vehicles, whether it's a CD, a savings account, investing in the stock market, depending on a mutual fund, whatever might suit your financial risk tolerance is really, really important. And even if you don't have access to a financial planner or someone that can help you with those decisions, which I do highly recommend, there are lots of resources, whether it's online or through community organizations that are focused on financial health. For example, at California Bank and Trust, we have financial literacy resources on our company website, which is available to the public. And there's lots of tools out there. So regardless of either your education level, your financial status, everyone can educate themselves on a variety of different investment vehicles. And all I would add is just, again, be patient and have a plan.
And what is that website we can go to, Ben?
CaliforniaBankandTrust.com.
And that can help us because as we go along our journey seeking and building financial independence, truth of the matter is our risk tolerances and circumstances in our own individual lives could dictate how we even want to invest money. Taking more risk when you're 25 may not be the same as taking a risk when you're 65, would it?
No, absolutely. You're right on point. And it's really important in that plan that you revisit it on a very regular basis because, to your point, times change, situations change, and so we want to make sure we're keeping a close eye on our financial status.
California Bank and Trust doing something right, getting some great grades here in California, Southern California, for 70 years now?
That's right.
Best bank by the San Diego Union Tribune readers for 14 consecutive years. Ben, how do you get it done?
Gene, you've done your homework. We really get it done by putting people first. We believe in championing the people and the businesses that are building California. And when you put relationships first, the rest just really seems to fall in line.
And that's what it's all about, because if we're going to trust getting advice from anybody when it has to do with money, we better trust the people we're getting that advice from, right, Ben?
I couldn't say it better myself. It's so critical that you trust the people you're working with. And that's a big difference maker when you're talking about the source of people's financial security and safety.
Ben Alvarado has been my guest, Executive Vice President, Director of Core Banking for California Bank and Trust. Ben, one more time, the website folks can go to that your bank offers that we can get some great information from?
CaliforniaBankandTrust.com.
Sounds great. Ben, great to catch up with you. Thanks so much for the info. We are on our way, sir. I'll give you a call or a text when I get to that financial independence point. How's that?
You're fantastic, Gene. I appreciate this opportunity to spend some time with you this morning.
Great to have you here. I'm Gene Nichols.